Daniel's throat went dry. His small gourd of water was already empty. Every step felt heavier than the last. His legs ached and fear gnawed at his belly. Then came the growl. From the corner of his eye, Daniel saw two glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness. A leopard slinked out, muscles rippling beneath its spotted coat. Its gaze locked on Daniel, its teeth flashing in the dim light. In a quiet village tucked between rolling green hills and winding streams, there lived a young boy named Daniel. Daniel was not just any boy. He was lively, curious, and full of restless energy that often pushed him into places where danger quietly lurked. His father, Papa Izu, was a man of great wisdom, the kind of man the villagers often went to for advice. He carried himself with calm authority, and his words, though sometimes firm, were always spoken with love. Daniel, however, was at the age where a boy's heart feels bigger than the rules set before him. He loved to run barefoot along the dusty paths, climb trees taller than the rooftops, and chase after goats and chickens until his laughter echoed across the fields. Yet behind his father's loving eyes was often a flicker of worry, for he knew that Daniel's adventurous spirit could easily carry him into harm's way. One evening, as the crimson sun dipped low into the horizon and the smell of roasted maize drifted across the compound, Papa Ease called Daniel to sit with him on the old wooden stool beneath the mango tree. His voice was gentle but steady, like the slow beat of a talking drum. "Daniel, my son," he began, "there are paths a man must never take, no matter how curious he feels. Do you see that thick forest across the stream?" Daniel followed his father's gaze. Beyond the farms, the forest rose like a dark wall, its tall iroko and mahogany trees swaying with secrets only the wind could understand. It was a place Daniel had stared at countless times, imagining hidden treasures, strange animals, and the thrill of discovery. "Yes, Papa, I see it," Daniel replied, his eyes shining with excitement. "Good," Papa Ease said, leaning closer. "Promise me you will never wander into that forest. It is not like the farms or the riverbank where you play. It is a place where even grown men have lost their way. Many do not return. The forest does not forgive disobedience." Daniel squirmed on the stool, half listening, half dreaming of the adventures his father was warning him against. "But Papa, is it really that dangerous? It looks so quiet, almost inviting." Papa Ease's voice hardened. "Daniel, listen well. A path may look quiet, but you do not know the spirits that walk it. Do not test the words of your father. To obey is better than to argue. If you love your life, stay away." Daniel nodded reluctantly, but in his heart, curiosity tugged harder than caution. The more his father warned him, the more his imagination painted the forest as a place of wonders waiting for him alone. That night, while the crickets sang and the moon floated like a silver drum in the sky, Daniel lay on his mat, restless. The forest called to him. He could almost hear it whisper his name. He thought of his friends, how they would cheer if he became the first among them to explore the forbidden woods. The thrill was irresistible. By morning, before the roosters crowed twice, Daniel had made up his mind. He slipped out quietly, carrying nothing but a small gourd of water. His bare feet kissed the cool earth as he tiptoed past the sleeping goats, past the yam barns, and finally down the narrow path that led toward the river and the dark wall of trees beyond. His heart pounded with excitement, but a shadow of guilt gnawed at him. His father's words still echoed, warning him, but Daniel shook the thought away. "I will only go a little way in and come back," he whispered to himself. "Papa will never know." The forest swallowed him whole. At first, the path seemed harmless. Bright sunbeams pierced through the canopy, painting golden patches on the ground. Birds with feathers of red and green sang from the branches, and monkeys swung playfully above. Daniel laughed, feeling proud of his courage. But the deeper he went, the quieter the forest became. The air grew heavy. The cheerful bird songs faded into distant echoes, replaced by rustling sounds that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Daniel's steps slowed. He looked around and realized he could no longer see the path clearly. Panic flickered in his chest, but he forced himself to keep walking. "I am not afraid," he muttered, though his trembling hands betrayed him. Suddenly, from behind a thick bush, a tall, frail-looking man appeared. His hair was white as ash, and his long staff tapped gently on the ground as he moved. His eyes, though old, were sharp and piercing. "Child," the old man said in a voice that was both kind and commanding, "why do you wander where even the trees do not welcome strangers?" Daniel froze, unsure whether to run or answer. I wanted to see what was inside the forest," he stammered. The old man studied him for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Curiosity is a fire. When it warms you, it is good. But when it burns, it consumes all." He raised his staff and pointed deeper into the woods. "Go back, boy, before the forest teaches you a lesson you may never forget." But Daniel, still blinded by pride and adventure, lifted his chin. "I am not afraid. I can take care of myself." The old man sighed, his eyes heavy with sorrow. "Then may the forest be your teacher." And with that, he vanished into the shadows as though he had never been there at all. A cold shiver ran through Daniel, but he pressed on, determined not to turn back. Soon the trees grew taller and thicker, blocking out the sun. Strange sounds echoed all around. Low growls, whispers in the wind, the snap of twigs beneath unseen feet. Daniel's throat went dry. His small gourd of water was already empty. Every step felt heavier than the last. His legs ached and fear gnawed at his belly. Then came the growl. From the corner of his eye, Daniel saw two glowing eyes staring at him from the darkness. A leopard slinked out, muscles rippling beneath its spotted coat. Its gaze locked on Daniel, its teeth flashing in the dim light. Daniel's heart nearly stopped. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. Just then, he remembered his father's words. "The forest does not forgive disobedience." His knees buckled. But before the leopard pounced, a loud crack split the silence. The old man's staff struck the ground beside Daniel. The animal snarled, hissed, and retreated into the shadows. The old man appeared once more, his face grim. "You see, child, the forest is not your playground. You disobeyed your father, and now the forest seeks to claim you." Tears welled up in Daniel's eyes. For the first time, he realized how foolish he had been. "Please, help me get out. I don't want to stay here anymore." The old man's gaze softened. "It is good to admit fear, but better to learn from it. Obedience is not a chain to bind you, but a shield to protect you." He lifted his staff, tapped the ground, and suddenly a faint path appeared, glowing faintly beneath the trees. "Follow this path," the old man instructed. "It will lead you back to the edge of the forest. But remember this day, Daniel. The disobedience of a child brings sorrow not only to him, but to those who love him." Daniel nodded quickly, his chest heaving with regret. He followed the glowing path, his feet stumbling with exhaustion. At last, he stumbled out of the forest, collapsing on the riverbank, where his father was already searching frantically. "Daniel!" Papa Ease cried, rushing to his side. His strong arms lifted the trembling boy, relief and anger mixing in his eyes. "Did I not warn you? Why do you test my words?" Daniel broke into tears, clinging to his father's chest. "I am sorry, Papa. I should have listened. I will never disobey you again." Papa Ease sighed deeply, stroking his son's hair. "You have seen for yourself. Obedience is not weakness, my son. It is wisdom, and wisdom keeps you alive." That night, as Daniel lay in bed, the memory of the old man and the glowing path lingered in his mind. He did not know whether the man was real or a spirit, but he knew one thing for certain. His father's words were worth more than all the adventures in the world. And so Daniel grew wiser from that day on. He never forgot that to obey is not to lose freedom, but to gain life itself. Moral of the story: disobedience may seem like freedom, but it leads to danger and sorrow. True wisdom is found in listening to those who love and guide us.